Hello. Hi everyone, and welcome back. Welcome to my another stream. And in this stream, we are going to talk about Next.js 13. So I already talked about a lot about Next.js, even covered lots of application. So what I decided that in this video, I'm going to build end-to-end application using Next.js core features. It's not going to be big bang application. We are going to just build a simple Next.js movies clone application where we are just going to fetch the movies data from the movies open APIs, and we are going to just visualize. We will just talk about app directory, how we can create the routes, how we can fetch the data, how we can link the components, and how we can style the components, how we can create a server-side component and a client-only component. So all those concepts of directory-based routing, how we are dealing with images, fonts, and links, all those concepts, whatever the core concepts you can think of in the Next.js 13, I will be covering here. Hi everyone, and welcome back. Welcome to my another video, and in this video we are going to cover another application. Hi everyone, and welcome back. Welcome to my another video, and in this video we are going to cover another application in the Next.js. And with this application, we are going to explore each and every aspect of Next.js. So in this video, we are going to build a simple movie IMDb clone application, which is going to fetch the lots of data about a particular movie of a different type, like top rated movies, incoming movies, and popular movies. And we are going to visualize them nicely on the UI. So we are not going to write our own APIs. We are just going to use existing IMDb APIs, and we are going to fetch those results and show them on the UI. So let's get started. How we are going to do it? This is our simple setup. We have all these applications, and we are going to build a new application. So how we will do it? I will just create next application. We'll just select all the options, like what all I need. I'm just creating a movies application. So we will just put a nice name, IMDb movies 2023. And here it will ask you, do you want to use TypeScript? Do you want to enable ESLint? Do you want to use Tailwind CSS? You want to use source directory and app directory? So this question is important because you might have seen the different Next.js projects using a different folder structure. Why that is happening? Because there are options. These are the two combinations. Do you want to use source directory? If you say no, all the apps and pages will be on the root of your project. If you want to use the source directory, then src folder will be created in the root, and then all the folders will be inside that. So now if you want to use app directory, then it will create a source app. Now inside a source app directory, you will have APIs and the pages, right? Like here you can see we have a Tailwind config, we have a post CSS, and we have a next config. And inside source app, we have page.tsx, which is going to be the landing page currently, because this is how the routing works. This is the app based routing in the Next.js. We'll just make simple, and this is our layout. So this is the root layout and the root page.tsx. So when you run the application, it is going to use this page.tsx and the layout.tsx. Okay. And this is the next config, Tailwind config, ts config. We don't need all these theme options, so I will just get rid of this. And we have this source package.json. You can see the dependencies. Here we have a React DOM, Next, Tailwind, TypeScript, and auto prefixure, post CSS, React DOM, right? Basic dependencies. Now we are going to create all the other routes like API. If you want to have the Next.js API routes, this is how you will do it. Inside API, you will create another folder like API hello. So hello can be another folder. Inside that, you will create a route.ts. Okay. So in this video, in this playlist, in this video, we are going to talk about the IMDb kind of API, where we are going to fetch lots of data, and then we just pass the data to the child components. So how we will do it? We already know how to make a API call, how to fetch the data in the server side components. Okay, so we will talk about all those things, like how we are creating it. So we have these two different folders, like two different path, movie and the movies. So they will become the the server side path that can render the content, right? So this is the app movies and movies. These are the two different paths, and we will just put the names. So this is the hello world root, and this is the root layout. And here we have a global CSS where I'm importing the tailwind CSS, all the tailwind configurations. This is the movie and movies.tsx. Now, if you try to see the landing page, you are getting hello world. Now, if you look into the documentation, how the layout really works. Inside source we have app, we have the pages, and inside pages you can have a page.tsx, loading.tsx, error.tsx, and this is how you will fetch the data and all. So it's all Next.js. I'm not going to spend much time here in explaining okay how the Next.js works. We are going to use all the library which provides by the Next.js, like next link, next image, next router, all the concepts. And we are also going to use the next link because that is used for the navigation. Okay, so that is app directory, which is the beta feature, and we are using that. So in source folder you can see we have app, and inside app directory we have all the path based routing, folder based routing, and we have the API folder. So if you want to have an API, then you can create it there. So this is our root file. I mean, when you hit a forward slash, it is going to render the page.tsx, which is there inside a source app folder. Here you can make an API call because this is a server side component. So like I can just write async function get movies, and you just define some type string. Okay, give me popular movies, give me top rated movies, all these things we can do. Now let's try to understand this path based routing clearly. So how our structure looks like. We have a source folder, inside that we have an app folder, and inside that we can have APIs, we can create these folder based routing and all. If you look into the high level picture, this is how the routing works. And this is we are using this app directory. So inside app, whatever you are doing page.tsx, that will become the root page. Then you can, if you want to implement APIs, you will put inside app, you will create an API folder, then you will put a path like API auth, then auth will become folder, API hello will become folder, and then route.tss. There you will define the get, put, post handlers. Currently what I want is I want a landing page, I want a page for movies, I want a page for getting a particular movie, right? So we will extend this example, like we still need to create couple of more folders inside a movie directory. So how it works is when you hit a movies in the forward slash movies, it will render the page.tsx from the movies. When you hit forward slash movie, it will access the page.tsx from the movie folder. So this is how currently it's working. This is the directory based structure, and we can create the APIs, we can create components, and all those things are happening like this. So this is our root page. This is will be rendered when you hit forward slash movies, and when this will be rendered when you hit a forward slash movie page. So this is the combination, right? And this is how the routing works. So if you want to hit something else like okay movie and forward slash there is a layout, these are the different files which you will have. So you can have a custom layouts for a particular route like movies. Okay, I want to have a different layout than the root layout. I can create a layout file, I can have a separate error handler. This is the error boundary page which we will be creating. We can have a loading component for each and every route. So there are two routes right now, root, movies, and movie, and each and every folder we can put this layout.tsx, error.tsx, loading.tsx. These are the main components. Layout will define the layout. If you have some custom layout for movies and movie, error, this is the error boundary page, will be used when there is an error. Loading, because we are doing lots of asynchronous thing, we are going to fetch the API data, so we can show some loading message or nice loader on the UI. So you can use a loading.tsx in that particular case. So this is pretty much the folder structure looks like. You can have a custom layout for each and every folder. You can put a error boundary error.tsx. Error.tsx is the client only component, and rest you can build all these things. And here we can create a server components. These are the server components we are going to create, and server components are capable by just even calling a method. So they are like async functions. You can do async await, and you can make another function, okay, async fetch, async function get movies, and you write a axios call, and you do await get movies in your components. That is the power of server components, that you can just, earlier we used to do get server side data, get static props and all the custom methods. Now those are not there. You can just write a simple async functions and await that call in your server component. So let's come back to that. So here, this is how we are doing it. This is how we can create a simple api hello.ts, and inside that this is a hello is a folder, api hello is the folder. Inside that you will create a route.ts, and inside that you are going to write the handler api hello, and then you will create a route.ts that is actually going to handle all your requests. So here you need to define, do you want a get handler, put handler, post handler, patch handler? All these functions are there. Okay, coming to our root components. So this is the root component, movies, and if I want to fetch the movies, what I will do, I will simply await get movies in the server components. These all are server side components. All the root component, page.tsx, the movies, movie, all these will be a server components. There are lots of advantages. I mean, server components, data fetching in server component is just plain and easy. You just to write a simple async functions and do the await. Once you receive the data, then that data you can actually pass to the client only component, because sometimes you want to manage the state, you wanted to store the state, you wanted to use the Redux, you wanted to use the basic React hooks, because state management and all can happen only in the client side components. Server components, the only objective of server components is fetch the data and send the data to the client. So this is how you can create all the different pages. Let's say you wanted to create a particular route, let's say movie and movies. So what we did here, we put error.tsx, loading.tsx, and the page.tsx. So these files are really important if you want to have some kind of a loading state, some kind of error boundary to be placed in these folders. So this is like a simple client component, and this is how we do error handling. Why that is required? Let's say you are writing your application and there is something wrong happened in this particular page, then this error boundary page will be able to show you the error message. And in each and every folder you can have your own layout, you can have your own error.tsx and the layout. So I'm just trying to play around with this to just showcase you that how this really works, and this how this page based path routing really works. So we have movie and a movies, and here we are creating also the loading.tsx that will be able to show you simple loading animation. Let's say you are doing some asynchronous stuff and you wanted to show some loading message on the screen, that okay, because it's SSR, before even publishing the data you are making API call, so your browser will be loading, but at least you can show okay, the things are getting loaded, it will be available, so we can show some kind of a loading message, right? So we have a loading, layout, error, and the page.tsx. This is a typical structure of our application. And here when I reload, I think there is some error. So this is the root page which is coming from the page.tsx, and then the default export is not a React component promise.all. So there is something wrong. Let's try to troubleshoot it. So here this is our page.tsx, and this is our loading.tsx, error.tsx, and all these different components. So layout, so I think we are not putting anything inside a layout, that is creating problem. If we have a layout, then just keep it, otherwise just remove the layout from the folders. So here you can see we are putting body. So if you want to have a custom layout, that's fine. Otherwise, if you have put the layout.tsx, then obviously you need to render the children inside that JSX. Currently we are not using any custom layouts, but here this is just about demo. Let's say I put two different layouts. For movie and movies, I have a separate layout, so I just put the layout.tsx inside them, and then I will just try to see if this works. And here we will just replace the layout with this. So it's all about it's doing nothing much. It's like you can see movie, This is the movie, and hello movies, this is the movies. Currently we are not making any async calls, so we don't see the loading, but this is how this server component works. So movie and movies both folder contains page.tsx, right? So page.tsx is a server component, and you can use server components for the data fetching and all just by using simple async call. And once you have the data, you can pass the data to the client components, because client only component can only do the state management, where you can use hooks. All those concepts applies only to the client side components, because state management is a client side stuff, it's not a server side stuff. So all the things, the hooks and all, you can use only in the client only components. And this is how we work with the complex applications. You do the server components, and server components will render the client only child components and pass the data. And server components can make direct interactions with the Prisma ORM by just calling the prisma.model.fetch many unique find many. It can make an Axios call to the external API. It can make an API call to the Next.js routes. So I mean, you don't interact with the Next.js API routes. Next.js API routes are designed to be consumed by the client only components. You can also access third-party APIs using Axios call. That's what we are going to do. We are going to make a MovieDB clone, because we are not building an infrastructure for managing the movies data. We are going to consume the existing APIs provided by the open source. So there is a MovieDB where you can pass the API key and can access all the movies, all the credits, all the recommendations, all the title tracks and all, like the complete movie picture. Whatever the IMDb shows the data, all these information we can consume. Okay, so we have two different routes: movies, which will show all the movies, and movie, which will show a particular movie by ID. So here we will have a folder underscore ID, because this ID is actually a path parameter, and inside that we can have the same. You can have a page.tsx, loading.tsx, layout.tsx, error.tsx. All these files can be there in a folder, because this is a folder. And here I'm putting just only page.tsx, and I do have other folders inside this, because when I try to get the particular movie detail, I can try to get the information about the cast, about the role play, about the script, about the ratings. So I'm creating these different folders. Cast will have its own page.tsx. So we are creating actually a deep down nested route hierarchy, folder based hierarchy. So movie by ID, then I can get the cast, I can get the recommendations and all. So we can just need only page.tsx, because all the other files I have created only for demo. It's to show you okay how this loading, layout and the error.tsx works. Inside movie also we are going to create different routes: /movie, /popular, /movie, /top rated movies, top rated, recommended, all these upcoming movies. So there will be 3 different routes inside this movies folder. So let's say I wanted to see the top rated. So movies / top rated, it will give you the top rated movies. Movies / popular, it will give you the popular movies. Okay, now what I will do is I will create the other folders upcoming. So we have these 3 different routes. Inside these folders we also need to have page.tsx, right? That is a server component which we need to put. Okay, we just delete the layouts and all. I mean, we are just deleting the necessary stuff which we don't need. So here we just need only page.tsx. So we'll just try to copy the page.tsx template, and we'll just copy the page.tsx everywhere. Okay, so here you can see we have a movies ID and the movies folder, which contains these 3 different routes. I just copy and pasted the page.tsx template. Okay, and then we already know what is how the folder structure looks like. So this is what we are going to build. So this is upcoming movies, a grid, horizontal grid, popular movies, top rated movies. And when you click on to the see all, it will take you to this particular route, movies upcoming. So this is a separate route. That was the landing page. Now if you go to the movies and then top rated popular movies, that will be a separate route, movies top rated, movies upcoming, movies popular. So these are routes inside the movies folder, and they are rendering page.tsx, and this is the movie by ID, get movie by ID. So here movie by ID, and then you can also fetch the cast. You can also fetch the recommendations based on that movie ID. So movie ID and recommendation, movie ID and the cast. So this is how this path based Next.js directory is working. So let's try to understand how all these path are working. So here we have movies, which contains the page.tsx, which has the ID, right? Movies, and then there is another route is movie by ID recommendation, and then recommendation and the cast. So these are the 3 routes or 4 routes I see. Now let's try to detail this down and try to understand how this path based directory is pointing to which directory in the file system. Okay, because this is really important, how we are structuring the files. So this is the movie, then movies popular, then movies upcoming, top rated, movies upcoming. These are like the folder structures which we have created, right? And now how this really works, we have, this will point to movies ID, movies, and this is ID is a path parameter, movie ID, and page.tsx, because by default it will look for page.tsx. Then this will look for, so here we will copy paste this thing, and we are going to just show how the movies route will work. So inside, all these things are inside app directory. App directory is the root. Inside app we have page.tsx app. So that is actually landing page, the / movies, where we are just showing all the movies. That is landing page. So here this is the recommendation, this is the cast. So here we can see this is the cast. So the folder structure is like inside app we have a movie, then ID, cast, page.tsx, then movies popular. Here movie, it's a movies, not movie, and then this is a popular, page.tsx. Similarly we have a top rated, we have upcoming, sorry, here we have top rated, and then we have a upcoming movies. Okay, so what we are showing, we are putting page.tsx as server component inside these folders, so these routes can start rendering the component. Okay, so this is how the path based the routing directory works, and this is the URL which we are going to hit. This is like the MovieDB open source APIs. If you have an API key, you can access this URL, can fetch the movies data. So that is nothing but a REST API, so it will give you the JSON object. Now JSON object is there, you just fetch all the list of movies and pass it to your respective components. This is how every REST API works, right? This is like open source API, MovieDB API, which gives you all the details about any random movie based on the movie ID. You can fetch the movies based on the category. Okay, I want top rated, upcoming, popular, all these set of movies are available. You just need to pass this API key here. Okay, so same we are going to do. So what we will do, this is the API key we have to access the platform, access this REST API, and here we are going to make a simple fetch call. So that fetch call is all about fetching the data in the server component. So these are server components, and now data fetching is way more simplified in the Next.js 13.x. You can just write a simple function, async function, and we can await that function inside our component. Async function, get all movies, fetch movies, and pass the title or the type. Let's say I want to fetch the movies popular, top rated, upcoming, and here we can just make a simple fetch call, axios fetch, and that fetch will be await fetch and pass the URL and pass the API key from process.env. So this is how it really works. We are passing this environment variable, and then here we can do return response.json. So that will give us the data object, and we can just call this get movies inside our component. That is the beauty of server components. How I get it, the data const popular movies equal to await get movies, and pass your type. Type may be like popular, all these things. So now this function needs to be async server side component, because you are doing await, and you can also have a loading state some here, and we are fetching 3 different categories: top rated, popular, upcoming, because you have seen the landing page, it contains the 3 different horizontal grid with the 4 movies each: popular, upcoming, and top rated. This is our simple landing page, which is in the page.tsx. It's like a root page. Currently we are not going inside the movies / upcoming. It's landing page where we are just showing 4 movies each from each section. So it's all about, okay, building this grid layout. What we need to do, we are going to use the grid, and we are going to just put the max. So it's a flex container, flex column, and inside a div we are going to just put a maximum width. How much max width we are putting it? So it's like 1300 pixel. The container contains a 1200 pixel, so we want a little wider. This is the how we can assign a fixed width. You can do max width, and then you can also have a fixed width, like, okay, 1300 pixel is the area which you should cover. Margin auto, so it will give a space from the left and right, and padding horizontal is 4. So we are getting all these 4 different category of movies. So what we will do, we will render these 3 components: upcoming movies, top rated movies, and the popular movies. And so these movies will be rendered. So what we are doing, we are just passing the data, upcoming movies, then we have another component. So these are the 3 components we are going to render here. These all are server components, because what these components are doing, you can decide like how you want these components to behave, but these can be a client only component also, because these components further not going to fetch the data from the server, they are just rendering this data. So they can be client only, but here we are not doing any state management and all. Let's keep it that way. So upcoming movies, popular movies, and top rated movies. So these are the props we are passing to these 3 components. Now these 3 components will render. I mean, this is like a movies array. What you need to do now, once you receive the movie, you need to just create a simple tiny header and just a grid, horizontal grid, flex container with all the movies inside it. So let's create all these 3 components first inside a component, and here we can do alias, right, @component. So this is inside source, we need to create a components. So all the root level, you can, whatever you are putting inside a source, that can be used as alias, components, config, utility, database, whatever you put, you can access that using @component, because this is all tsconfig magic. In the tsconfig we have provided this path mapping. It's not happening on the fly. All these things we have already defined in the tsconfig, or this, when you create next step, everything is auto generated for you. And inside these components we can create all these 3 components: popular movies, top rated movies, upcoming movies. These are the tsx files. So we will access the data which is coming in the props, and we will try to display a nice simply header like top rated movies, see all button, and the grid. So let's see that in the action, like how this really looks like. We are using this Tailwind classes. So basic knowledge of Tailwind is always required, and you can just read some documentation, that is enough, because when you use the flex, grid and all, you understand the Tailwind utilities while working on it, not by just going through and learning all the classes. Okay, so let's create all these components. So we are creating top rated movies, popular movies, and upcoming movies. I mean, the layout of all these components would be somewhat similar, because if you see the look and feel of all these components, it's similar. They need to show the top 4 movies. So we will get the top rated movies from the props, and we will slice it from like the first 4 elements, and then we will just do a map and create. So we also need to create another child component for that. So let's create that. Here we have these 4 components, I mean 3 components. We'll just copy paste them so we can start building them. So this is the popular movies, and we will just do export default upcoming movies, right? So here this is the page.tsx components, and here we can import all of these, right? Because we have created that inside the components, so we can import them. So this is the top rated movies, and this is you need to change the import, and this is popular movies, and the imports will also be changed here. And then we need to see everything. Now here the types is creating a problem because this is a TypeScript. You need to specify the types in the props. You need to accept the types, right? So this is what you are getting directly from the props. So this is the popular movies of type. Currently we don't have a TypeScript types. You can create by looking at into the JSON object how it really looks like. It contains the result object, and inside that there is an array. So we can just set any for now. This is top rated movies of type any. Similarly, we have all these error resolved. Now I think we can start the application and try to see what it is rendering. So here what we are doing is we have a get movies. Get movies is going to give us the data we need, right? And this is the loading, a simple loading, and all these components are there. So when I hit /movies, it is going to render the page.tsx of the movies component, right? Movies is actually page.tsx is at the root. So it should be able to display all our 3 grids, top movies and popular movies and all. I will also apply the fonts. So we have removed the necessary stylings from the tailwind, and here it is showing top rated movies. So let's see what is happening. Okay, we don't have any message, so we will just put the message and we will start building these components. Currently it's not showing any message, so we don't see anything on the UI. But now let's try to create the UI. So top rated movies, what do we need? We need to just create a simple flex layout, flex column, and then we can just do some margin bottom, and then inside that we have a div class name, and we are going to specify flex justify between, because we have one label and one button. So one label and one button needs to be on the leftmost and the rightmost. Okay, and item center margin top 4, and this is another div where we are going to have a grid. So this is going to be using the grid, CSS grid column 4 column grid, and the gap between each and every grid is 4. Now on the line 8, this is the div which will contain 2 childrens. One is the h1 element, which will show a simple message, okay, these are the top rated movies. And then inside this we are going to have one simple button that will take us to a different route, like movies and top rated / top rated. So text to Excel font medium, and font color you can set, and here is the link. I mean, this is a Next.js link, which will, when you click onto this, it will navigate you to the different Next.js page. So it should be link movies top rated. Okay, and then just add all the classes, whatever we need to for this. So it's like padding vertically 2, padding horizontally 5, and background, set some background color and all those different properties. This is like a simple button we have created, and text white. And here we will say see all. When you click onto this button, it should be able to take you to the movies top rated, and here we are rendering the grid. So this should be, first of all, href, link href will take you to that. And when I reload it, yes, okay, this should be for text white, which, okay, there is a typo, text white. So this is a top rated movies coming from one component. Now we need to display the 4 elements of the top rated movies, right? So now I can just copy paste this and use it everywhere, because this is what we want to do. And when you copy paste, that means now this will start showing everywhere: upcoming movies, top rated movies, and popular movies. So this is popular movies, and let's see what is wrong here. Href, I think we need to reload this. Okay, the link is missing, so we need to import the link in all the 3 components. Link is actually used for Next.js navigation through the HTML buttons and all. You can see through all the 3 headers are there. Now we need to expose, we need to fetch the data for the grid elements. So here we are getting popular movies. Popular movies object will have a results that contains an array, and if the result is there, then we will just do a map on that, and we will read each and every movie element, and then here we are going to render. So we got the one single movie. Now that single movie, how we are going to fetch it? So it's better that we should create another child component, movie card, or any kind of a tile or card component we need to create, where we can pass the movie detail, and then that movie card component should be able to render the movie details with the background, with the name, with the ratings. The basic information should be able to expose on the movie card component. So we are going to create a movie card component in the components, and I'm going to copy and paste this on all. Okay, because it's like same. The only thing is, in some component we are getting a top rated, in some component we are getting popular movies as a props. And this is a simple movie card component we are creating that is getting movies object, and then that movies object should be able to, we just need to display, okay, just Next.js movie image, movie banner, movie title, and all these different properties. So here iMovie card. So what is the movie object contains? All these properties, like ID we need, because we also want to have a navigation movie by ID. So we are getting ID, title, poster path, that is actually a type string. That means if you want to show the banner, then we can use this poster path, and vote average. And we are getting a movie object which is of type iMovie. So movie object is of type iMovie card. This is actually just an interface we have created. So this component will know, okay, what all properties are there in the props, movie props. And here we can just simply create a link, because the whole title, the tile should be able to clickable. So when you click onto the tile, you should be able to navigate to the movie by ID. So the path will be movie/ID. That is getting the detail of a particular movie with its cast, with its recommendations, everything, movie detail, ratings, and all. That is a movie detail component which we are creating inside a link, href movie ID. And then inside this we can have, okay, what contains this card? Card contains some title, background image, some description, all these basic properties we have seen, like how the title layout looks like. So it's going to be like, okay, height is 400 pixel, width is full, because we can have only 4 grids like this, because we already have a CSS grid. Inside CSS grid we will be rendering this movie card. So it's fine that we can have a individual tile of a width full and height is 400 pixel, and inside that you can set the images and all. So let's format our code. I'm just trying with this prettier. Somehow this code formatting is somehow not working, or there is some prettier errors. I need to fix this because I'm trying to format my code in the whole video and I'm not able to make it. So something is not right with the prettier RC is there. I will try to see if prettier RC is there. That is actually a configuration which prettier uses to lint and format your code. Okay, so we are using Next.js image here because we have a poster path which we need to use to show the path on the, to show the background image on the tile. So we have this nice and clean movie card which will have this poster path, and this is a poster path. There is a typo and I think vote average. Yes, this is the image. If poster path is there, then just show it, otherwise we will just use some empty image. So this is always nice to have a fallback image. Let's say if you're not getting a particular variable in the properties, then you will have a fallback. That is a default image which will be shown if you don't have that particular property in your code. Okay, so this is a particular image, and after that we will just show all the other information on this movie card component. So here we have a movie card component which will be just, okay, if poster path is there, then use the poster path, otherwise leave it empty. That's not good. I just changed that. So what I'm saying is, if the poster path is there, then use the poster path, otherwise we can have some kind of default image which we will be using here. So this is a simple movie card component. Maybe I will be just doing some cleanup later, So here we can have a simple config. So whatever you are putting inside a source folder, that you can just import with the alias like @ component config. Config is nothing but a simple constants which I'm going to put for having the default image URL, and image URL is actually like what is the default host from where we are fetching the image, and what is the default image which will be shown if there is no image we are specifying. So this saving index.ts, this is a TypeScript mess which I still keep getting this pop-up. Sometimes I need to close the VS Code to fix this. So this is our movie card component, and what I will do is I need to fix this image, because this particular path we need to use in this image component. You can say image URL movie.poster path, otherwise empty movie URL. Empty movie URL, because if no image is there, we will use this variable which is coming from the config. Okay, and now this is a simple movie card component. We will just export this movie card, and we will import this movie card component everywhere. Like this is in all the components: popular movie, top movies, and top rated movies, and upcoming movies, right? And then we will try to just see how this looks like. We can just go to this particular folder. I have to restart my VS Code. So now we can just go to that component, and I see one error is there, like next image host name is not defined in the next config. So it depends like from which particular host you are loading the images, and if you're not specifying that in the next config, okay, I think we will get an error. Same error I can see here, and you will get confused what is the error. So here it is explicitly saying that images.emdb.org is not specified in the next config. So how to add this? In the next config object, you can just add another parameter image and domains. Like these are the allowed domains from which you can fetch the images. Now this works. I don't see error coming now, and we can just reload the page and try to see if it's working, because still we need to troubleshoot things. Okay, somehow this is working. I can fetch all the movies, but what happened? I can see all the movies together. That's not what we want. We want only 4 movies. So we will check our logic if that logic is really working. So we are getting top rated movies dot slice first 4 index dot map. This is what we are doing. I think it's fetching all the images together right now, which is not nice. And here we can see, okay, this is the issue. It should be 0,4 first index, last index. There was some typo, and now it should fix I think this particular one. Now I should be able to fetch only 4 images, and I can see that see all button is coming thrice for the 3 different sections: upcoming movies, popular movies, and top rated movies. And we are showing only top 4 movies for this. So this is how our components are rendering. Now what we will do is we are going to create a simple header component, because we want to have nice and clean simple header component that should be able to render on the top, because it's nice to have a simple header component which will be just showing a simple new bar and a new, and just putting a background color, having some fixed height. So that is all about the classes which we are going to write. So this is a padding vertical, padding horizontal, background is gray and gray 800, and this is our header component. We will just export default this, and we can use this header component anywhere we want in the application. And this is the link href. When you click onto the header, it should take you to the home page. So this is simple header component. Now let's see how to import the header component in our either layout, because layout, there we can decide, okay, in the layout I want to show the header sidebar, left sidebar, right sidebar, new bar, or the footer component. All these things can be decided here, and here I'm rendering header component. And I'm doing one mistake here which we will try to resolve. This is the common mistake which most of the people will do if you are not able to clear out your concept. So header component I'm adding outside body. Let's see if Next.js will allow this to happen. So I have imported header component, and header component is specified. header cannot appear as a child of HTML. That's good. So what we are going to do is we are going to put header component inside the body. Okay, so body we already have with the class name. What I will do is this header component we are going to render just before the children's, and you can create a empty wrapper around it. So this is the header component and the children component. Okay, and we can just see the outcome now. This should be able to fetch the results. Oh, I think there is no errors. And I can see all these three grids. I mean, you can try to give us some vertical margin. I mean, margin for the upcoming movies, because this is header, and header should be little bit should have a padding bottom or margin bottom from this particular grid. So this is how the whole layout looks like. Here we can see we have the flex container, and inside the width 1300 we have these three different containers. Okay, now this popular, top rated and upcoming, these are also the routes already created, which we need to define, right? So inside movies there is a popular, upcoming and top rated. Currently we have done only the landing page, and landing page was importing these three different components, not page based routes. Okay, now we are going to create popular page. So how we will read it? When you will hit /movies /popular will render this page. /movies /upcoming will render the page.tsx from the upcoming. And this is going to be the same async component, async call, because here you will fetch the movies, you will fetch the popular movies, top rated movies and upcoming movies in these three different routes. And then we will just put the same JSX for this, and fetch movies. That means it is going to fetch the popular movies, upcoming movies and top rated movies, the whole list. Because when this page will come, when you click on see all on the home page, see all the top rated movies, see all popular movies, see all upcoming movies, then these pages will be used. And I can just make a async call get popular movies, and I will just pass the page. So why I'm doing is because we also want a paginated results. So you will see how we can achieve the simple pagination using this component, because this pagination is totally server side. When you hit page 1, we are going to get the results of page 1. When you hit /page 2, the request will go to the server and it will fetch the page, the whole HTML page with the data from the server. So here page is actually the params we are going to use. And here get popular movies, it's all about the same URL, but only the path will change, and we are going to pass the same API key for accessing these APIs. And you can see the path is movie popular. So you got the popular movies. Now you will just start playing with the popular movies and show those popular movies in the grid. So what I'm saying is here we will also have a search parameters. So you understand the query parameter, search parameter, path parameter, because I wanted to access the multiple pages like page by page ID, page 1, page 2, page 3 for fetching the list of movies. So what you are passing the search parameter, and I can access the search parameter. If no search parameter is being passed, that means fetch me the first page of popular movies, first page of upcoming movies. But when you pass the page 2 in the route, that means fetch me the page 2. Okay, and then it's all just a simple layout. We are going to render all these popular movies, all these inside a grid. But before that we need to make this async call, which will give us the popular movies, top rated movies and upcoming movies respectively. And then you just do a dot map on that and show all these movies inside a grid column of grid with the column 4. Okay, and here also we are using the same movie card component, either popular movies, we got all the movies, and the default page is page 1. Okay, get the popular movies for the page 1. If page path, page search param is not being passed, and we are still rendering this movie card component, and I'm hitting movies /movies is there. That's good. And now I will just hit inside movies. These are the three folders. Movies top rated. That's another route which should be able to render the top rated components, top rated grid. And it is throwing some error. Let's try to see. It is talking about error boundary. So we have, okay, page. I think that was the problem because the component was imported but was not exported properly. It should be uppercase page, camel case. That is what we are exporting. So earlier we were not importing anything. It was all empty. Now we will try to see this in the demo. I will try to reload the page. This is a top rated page and movie card is not defined. Again another error. So obviously we didn't import this movie card component. Somehow this TypeScript is not complaining big, but the TypeScript should complain wherever you see you are accessing some properties, wherever you are not importing a particular component. Then movie card is coming from the components and movie card, and this movie card we can import everywhere. So importing this movie card will be sorted now, and we should be able to see the whole output. Now we can also just do some renaming. Okay, this is upcoming, so just use upcoming name everywhere. Upcoming movies, get upcoming movies. This is top rated, so fetch top rated movies and fetch top rated movies. And also we need to change this path parameter, right? Path, so movie top rated, movie popular, movie upcoming. This is the API URL will also change, and here we are passing the page number also dynamically. So if you want to access the multiple pages, and yes, I got the results now. It is showing me all the movies. The only thing is about my layout. I think it's covering the whole width of the body. So I will try to fix the layout by using the outer wrapper, because I just copied the earlier layout, but this page is different. This page is show me all the popular top rated, all these movies together, like all these movies. We don't need anything else. So these are the popular movies. I need to just change this flex container, and we can just fix the maximum width. Okay, I'm putting a maximum width of 300 pixel. That is the fix we will do, and max width full. So in 300 pixels you can occupy, and you can give me the 4-column grid where I can show all the movies. In one row there will be 4 columns, 4 grid, then another row for another grid, something like this. And I think I need to clear out the cache. Something is wrong happening. So I will start the server, and this is working nice now. Here it is. We can create a see all component, and it will give you top rated, upcoming and popular movies. I think we put the same path, top rated everywhere. So it is taking us to the top rated every time. So this is all about HTML. Just change the route parameter, route path here inside upcoming movies. So there is a grid we are showing. So this is the top. So this is upcoming. Similarly, this is the top rated, and then there is a popular. So we'll just use the same names which we have used. And now I can navigate to the different routes. This is upcoming, top rated, and then you can click on to another button, this one, which will show you top rated. Okay, so this is how it is working. Now we can also fetch the other things. So we are able to fetch the movie list, and when you click on to the see all, we are able to see all the movies in that particular category. Now it's time to get the movie detail. So we are doing movie by ID, right? So ID is actually path parameter we are passing, and we should be able to fetch that particular movie based on the ID. So we are passing this ID as a path parameter. So this is the ID param movie detail, and there is inside params there is an ID we are passing. Okay, and then we just use async function get movie detail, that because we are trying to fetch that particular movie, and we already have the ID which is coming from the params. So inside a Next.js, when you are doing this folder based routing and you wanted to pass some dynamic then this is how you can access that dynamic variable using params. So using params.id, that will give me the ID which I'm looking for in a particular movie. And here we can just do a fetch to that particular URL that should be able to give me the movie detail of a particular movie. Okay, so you will get a JSON object. Okay, here I will just create a page component which is accepting the params, and params.id will be the path param which you are passing in by selecting a particular movie and accessing the details. So you should be able to access the cast and recommendation of that particular movie. So here we are accessing the ID from the params, and we are going to make a API call, a const movie await get movie details, and pass the ID. That's it. So it will give me all the movie information. Similarly, you can also do the give me the cast, give me the recommendations and all, and you will be writing all the same API call: get movie detail, get cast detail by movie ID, get recommendation by movie ID. But still you need a movie ID. Without that, how can you get the recommendations? How can you get the movie detail? So first we got the movie detail, we are passing the IDs, movie cast and movie recommendation. This is what we need to fetch. So we'll just copy paste it 3 times and just call the appropriate function. So this is all about how we get the movie detail, movie cast and movie recommendation, because when you click onto the movie tile, you should be able to fetch the movie details by calling these APIs. These are the asynchronous APIs. Like async await, we are using get recommendation, get cast, get movie details. There are 3 API calls we are making to fetch the data, then we are rendering the page, right? This is a server component. We are making all these 3 API calls, and this is like we are just putting some text. Like this is how we are going to show the movie details, like movie title in the left, and then movie description, ratings, and movie cast in the bottom, movie recommendation in the bottom. So this is a simple layout which we are putting for the movie detail. Movie detail means the whole information about the movie will be published here. And how we are fetching it, we are using these movies API, and we already have a movie ID, so we know how to fetch the data. We can get the cast, recommendation, movie details, and all these things are happening in this server component. And this ID we are accessing through the path params, and this is how you can get the path params in the server components, like params.id in the components, and that will give you the params. Okay, so this is all about the whole end-to-end setup. Now what we can do is we can just you can extend it further, whatever you wanted to build. You can add authentication using Next.js. You can use even the Prisma ORM and write your own APIs to create a movie, create a cast, create a recommendations, and then try to show that information. So keep this create operation separate, and this keep this view operation separate, because I want a list of movies, list of recommendation, list of cast and all, which I need a separate API. And in the API you can create a Prisma APIs to fetch the movies based on some kind of a filter. Okay, I want to get top recommended, I want to get the top cast. So all these things you can extend in this whole example, and maybe make it more appropriate and extend this example based on whatever you want. What is these errors? Await is not allowed, so we need to make the sync component. So now await is allowed. You should be able to fetch the data. Sometimes you need to reload and fetch the data, and now it is coming up, right? So this is how this whole application looks like. These are the different pages we have built. So what are the learnings from this whole app? This whole app is talking more about how to set up the directories, how to define the layouts if you are using some custom layouts, how this path-based directory really works. You can have a layout, loading, error.tsx, and how to access the path params from the path, like movie detail, and how you can create these nested directories, nested routes, which is again fetching the data from the external APIs, and how to fetch the data inside a server components. We haven't used any client only components because there was no such need of managing the state. We were not performing lots of user interactions. It's all about fetching the data and visualizing the data to the end user, which we are showing on the screen. So thanks everyone. This is all I have in this video. I will be posting more such videos where we can end-to-end build the application and can get more and more learnings with us. Okay, thanks everyone. If you like, then hit like, subscribe. I will be posting, I have lots of content. You can just check out my channel and get more from my experience.